Okay, hello, here we are, everybody. We're gonna do sweet and simple today. I'm gonna read you my pages, see how this goes. October 10th, 2022. It is the day after the Aries full moon, and I feel in my flow. You say surrender, and I find authenticity in the moment apart from your attention. I've been learning to find the self-satisfaction I feel good with. You stay at bay, and I learn to mark time from self-secure waters. I'm really working on secure attachment and finding what that feels like in my body. You ocean your motion and form your own freedom for change. Come quietly into the night and choose yourself freely and whole. Ooh, I love that one. Yes, yes, for freedom. Yes, for a night that waxes on and comforts the body in love and understanding. You say the shorn out ways can be rested like trails overhiked in nature. I feel that in my mind and my brain as sort of these neural pathways that have been overhiked and letting them rest like you rest a trail that's been overhiked in nature. The bleeding heart drives care and discovery, and you match your fishing line with a good spot in the water. What you create creates you. This is a co-creative love and make share process. The creative practice that you have been cultivating is something you share more and more freely with the world, and you guide your tides for soothsaying upon the waters sailed for adventure. You choose the uncovering of what your body wants. Whew. Return to my creative practice that I have been cultivating very specifically with making and sharing and connecting to the soma, the body, having healthy relationship with consciousness, mind, time, integrating trauma, understanding attachment wounds and how to deepen into self-security and find a secure attachment with yourself and the intimacy of life. So this is something I share more and more freely. It's something I've been afraid to share. And this has sort of been, I know that what I do works, and the people that I share with, it's very clear that there is a connection point between how we work and their progress in living more and more into a kind of life that they feel good inside of. And the more I've done that, it has been up until recently almost like I get more and more scared. I get more and more dysregulated. My capacity has stretched so much further than I think my body was giving consent for. So I'm finding ways to share more freely and widely, yet maybe not from such a lived felt experience, maybe more of a step back, a step removed, that I hold my charge. And if my charge has access and connection points to others, then wonderful. I'm learning how to not be so reactive or overly frustrated with the many experiences that perhaps for that quality is really not a match for. You choose the uncovering of what your body wants and needs to feel safe, at ease, and playful. Sometimes that's speaking more and more directly about something, and sometimes that's speaking less and less directly about something and talking to the undercurrents of the experience, the body-based nervous system, attachment theory, collective trauma, sort of relational dynamics that are at play as opposed to the expression of those things. And sometimes I will, and sometimes I won't. And in more public seas and broader ways, it creates potential rifts, I suppose, with community, either community that's established in a more connected circle or circuit, or community in the sense that it's where your voice reaches. And that may or may not be people that are in your circle, but your voice might reach into their circle of awareness. And that's so fascinating, right? The powers of technology and the way we share these days. Most people have more than 150 followers and 150 interpersonal connections is really all we can do. And so the tools to communicate more broadly than that are tools that I've been exploring to see how that can still feel grounded, regulated, intimate enough for me to feel like I want to connect there, invitational enough. And perhaps on the receiving end, for those of you watching, there's still a degree of intimacy created, yet I have the intimacy with the practice because so much of what I do is filming on my own and then sharing. There's not the in the moment receptivity that I receive from the other, as the many use, however few or many watch whatever it is that I create. Fascinating, isn't it? It's so fascinating. Being a creative person in this day and age, it's interesting. You choose the uncovering of what your body wants and needs to feel safe, at ease, and playful. And playful is a direction that I've been wanting to feel and feed more in my life. It's something I've had a lot of fear and like unnamed dread or terror around since I was little. And a lot of those of us who've had early trauma, whether that's birth trauma or pre or perinatal trauma or whatnot. And there's just a lot of like not being able to tell why, but maybe your nervous system hasn't been able to integrate the threat of lack of safety, the threat of death that you had early on. And so that's something I've been working with, finding ways to self-soothe myself in that experience. People can be so very vicious and cruel. Ooh, yeah. You get to say no to certain behaviors and process behind the scenes. It's okay to speak soft and for only you to hear, like a secret kept between you and you. And now you learn self security from a deep cellular knowing. The waters of choosing to share online and the seas of online space, whatever it is you're sharing. I've found that sharing from a place of in my pajamas and reading my journals attracts a certain kind of demographic that I feel particularly safe with. Those of you who find comfort in the cozy, I feel like there's a often a need, a want, a desire to connect to the subtle aspects of what it means to be human, to connect to the kind and kinder parts of who we are, and to recover in the wounded aspects of what we may have lived and or just feel really good, right? So any and all of those things I find are aspects of being a person that I feel good with. It makes sense that that's a connection point that I'm offering into the seas of diversity out there. So be like, hey, if you like these things, we might feel good and safe and have a kind of connection that's going to be mutually beneficial in an energetic way. When you engage, maybe it offers you some peace or clarity or empathy or feeling seen because something you're going through is similar, or feeling held because I'm offering the space to hold for me. And so you can feel what it's like to embody a space of kind of recovery that I'm offering, the psyche that I hold. And we all have different ways we need space held for ourselves. And so each one of you, there's going to be a very unique experience that you create between you and you that's going to be a really good match for what your needs are. And sometimes we can gain insight, inspiration, or just connection in really hard times that feeds our desire to be interrelational in community. And the more you heal, sometimes the smaller the circles you have get in your day-to-day life, at least for a period of time, if you're recalibrating your compatibility markers. Come forward into care and connection. Speak your place into the world and sense your struggles with a heart-centered eye. Be with one moment and then the next. Tune in, attune to the gold of your life. You have a lot, and that's so beautiful. Stretch the side body and go on short walks so you practice going outside repeatedly during the day. It's a cold water miracle, and you shelter yourself even within the storm that you feel yourself amidst in the ride of life and nature. Come into question with your stale ways and words. Feel the flow and tender times. and find comfort in the measure of where you stay connected. So that's sort of what Pages in Process is. What Accountability has been becoming for me, my weekly accountability group for a party of one currently. But I've been diligently doing it Mondays at 10 a.m. So just in 30 minutes, I'm going to hop on a different Zoom call and record that for the accountability tier over on Patreon. And then there's just a stock of their like master classes in how to recover and integrate a sense of well-being so that you can account for where you've been, where you're at, where you're headed, and have a healthy relationship with the way that you're engaging with your life. So that's exciting. Be the best and deliver the times. Show your shower and spend your days in the rinse and repeat that feels self supportive and kind. So there's nothing wrong with the rinse and repeat aspect of like, do the same thing every day. Those of you who have your own journaling practice and maybe even subscribe to the Julia Cameron form of morning pages, 3 pages stream of consciousness every morning, which is what this is. I'm on the smaller books, I do front and back, 3 full pages. So one front and back is 1 page. So I feel like that moves me through what I need to move through. And yeah, how beautiful is it to just keep showing up to the same practice and let the practice hold you and let yourself refine how you engage with the practice. And whether that's writing or walking or crafting or being in a movement practice or a meditation practice or an expressive arts practice, there's so much that can be deepened into when we just keep showing up. And every day our pages are different. Julia Cameron is less about go back and figure out what's actually going on with you. She's like, well, you just write it and then you let it go. And maybe periodically you go back and you read what you went through, but you do it after you've had a period of time away. Like you take, I think, at least like a week or a couple of weeks off before going back and like assessing, like, oh, what was that week like for me? And then you have a little distance. I'm sort of, as an artist that is body based and storytelling, works in improvisational and emergent crafts. So dance theater, physical theater is sort of my jam. And it's sort of like live journaling basically, but with your body and or multiple bodies in space. I'm really interested in the composition components that also are naturally and organically emergent and how they tell the story of who we are on a subconscious level. And so I'm really interested in the moment interpretation of archetypes and patterns and things like that. And they can, of course, over time and distance those are all wonderful, beautiful tools. I'm not saying anything against those things. I think that they were what I needed when I first began. And I don't think I could have done what I'm doing now when I first began. So I think in many ways, like what it is that I'm practicing is probably less for people who are just starting their self reflection process and more for people who've been at it a very long time and maybe are wanting more progress than they've been getting. So this is sort of like all right, if you're in the flow of your flow and there's like these creative blocks you keep bumping up against, and for whatever reason, certain aspects of other approaches haven't been working for you, here's a possibility. And it's ever evolving and organically, like just shifting, because that's the nature of improvisation, which is what I love. I love emergent content. So finding ways to find repetitive action with emergent content is my sweet spot of like, that's sort of like my lovership of creative space. And so that feels good. Okay. I was saying, be the best and deliver the times. Show your shower and spend your days in the rinse and repeat that feels self supportive and kind, which I just expressed to you. My rinse and repeat of what it feels supportive and kind to me, for me, and hopefully, for you too, of course. But that's where the compatibility comes in, that I'm not creating the content for you. I mean, I am, in a sense that I'm creating it in a way that will hopefully be digestible for you. And I'm creating it also because it's meeting my needs and it's matching my sensibilities, and it's fueling my intended connection points in a way that the kind of responses and the kind of community that I seem to be fostering through this project are feeling like a match. Okay. How does your offered moment pick pieces of discovered core content? And how do you bring more of yourself into the fold of life? You come into core pieces and bake the way forward with offered love and readied connection. Simplify your shares and spend time in your heart. Simplify your shares. That's hard for me. I'm going to keep practicing it, and I'm going to keep reading based on that. In the moment of your love, what do you offer as your home? How to do the integration part. You offer this. Spend time in the discovery of your fixed and final self along the way. Be the bridge of old ways into offered discourse and embodied practice. Simple your times and comb through the hair of your own making. Keep your focus on yourself, your career, your family, your friends, and your goals. There is a shape of discontent that brings your subtle body into the mix. Rest, rest, rest a while. You hold your own foundation clearly and come into connection with the beacon of your love amidst the laying down of something so sweet and soft, like a baby into a cradle. It's okay to need soft things. It's okay to take time forward and create space for the change you choose to embody. Take the reins of your developmental direction and love yourself. Become clear, and the rest falls into place. Stand your ground amidst the flight of life. Send your home life forward and open the doors to the window into your worlds. It is okay to share from here your simple, sweet pleasures. Thank you for being here with me. And I'll connect with you next time. We'll see if I get this out. I think to make it by a week, this will be released on Tuesday, the 11th of October. We'll see if that happens. Today is Monday, the 10th of October, as I'm recording this. But I still have to, in 15 minutes, record my account able tea, which will be up in the Patreon in the account able tea tier. And I've been doing the weekly word shares. Our theme this last Sunday was uncertainty. And I share a little quote that's helped me through my relationship with uncertainty and fear, and how we can attune to a way of relating with uncertainty that really feels like it's moving us in a direction that we want to create from and with, as opposed to feeling like we are facing a creative block when we hit uncertainty, when we face uncertainty, when we experience uncertainty. So if you want some prompts to explore that, and if you would like a little self-reflection to guide you into those prompts, that's over in the journaling home tier on Patreon, which is just $5 a month. And I have a couple of patrons there, and I'm hoping to invite, while the prompts you can absolutely just take into your personal journal, I'm hoping to continue to invite the bravery that some of my patrons at periods of time will take and share their words into the comments. So I'm hoping to build in this weekly word share, a space to practice sharing your vulnerabilities, sharing your experience. And if you're not ready for that, or if you want a more intimately held practice, the account able tea is really great for that, in that I guide you through my pages and process, as well as in the journal and tea. I've begun to do that as well. So that in journal and tea, we meet just once a month, and that's a $20 tier. And the last session was guiding you through how pages and process started, which was really just talking to myself and recording myself. And so if you want to come to that, or account able to, we are incorporating talking to ourselves and recording it, as well as journaling. So there's the stream of conscious talk speak, and then there's the stream of conscious journaling, and then there's the prompting, and then there's the somatic attunement, so tuning into your body, and then there's the meditation and bridging the space into a different possibility that is maybe a little more expanded or integrative of how would benefit your body's readiness to live the life that you desire and feel the way you want to feel, even if the life emerges in different ways than you maybe thought. But that we're really coming from a place of instinct, intuition, and connecting to the deep, unmet needs, the core needs of our bodies that maybe weren't met when we were little and maybe haven't been met throughout the course of our life, finding ways where we can really learn self security. On that, I will leave you until next time, wherever it is that I see you. So happy to be on this journey with you. Bye bye.